The first person that I want to introduce you today to is the surgeon that changed my life, Dr. Mal Fobi. Dr. Fobi!
Wow. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You look lovely.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Sit down. You sit down, Dr. Fobi. Do you think that it's because you're not from this country that you were able to look at this whole thing being a medical issue instead of a personality and willpower and weak, lazy person issue?
No, to tell you the truth, it was an accident. I was taking care of a young lady who had had the first type of surgery that was done called the intestinal bypass. And she had a lot of complications from it. And she had gone back to get the surgery revised at UCLA, USC, and every place, and they told her they had to take it down because she was having complications. Well, she ended up at the hospital where I was at that time, at King Drew Medical Center. When I talked to this lady for the first time, I said, I made the same recommendations the other doctors had made. So she told me, Dr. Fobi, if you take my surgery down, I'm going to be back to 349 pounds. And this young lady proceeded to tell me all the problems that a fat person has. And she would rather die than take that surgery down and gain weight. And so as the chief resident at that time, I was forced to do a project to find out how to help this lady without taking down her intestinal bypass. With my professor who was teaching me at that time, we converted this lady from the intestinal bypass to the gastric bypass. By 1978, this lady had referred 78 people to me who had had intestinal bypass and whom we converted. And by talking to these people, we realized that this is the worst prejudice situation in the United States that still exists,
Yes,
being overweight.
Absolutely.
And when I got to realize that, and I realized that there was a solution which was viable, I figured there was something that I could do for humanity. I want the fat person to feel accepted in society. I am able to get people to lose 300 pounds in 2 months, and they're doing very well. Born in West Africa, I went to a Catholic primary school. Most of the schools were missionary schools. They were boarding schools, very rigorous. The day's activity was well planned out, and that contributed a lot to my character in terms of being disciplined and being productive in what I do. During that period, we were influenced by various people who came and spoke to us about their career. I was influenced by a gentleman who was a lab technician. At an early age, I decided medicine was what I needed to do. At that time, the United States was not looked at very favorably in Africa. Most of us in Cameroon either went to London or to Paris or to Sorbonne for education. And we didn't think that an American education compared to either a British or French education. So to me, I was being adventurous coming to America. I came to the United States in 1966. And when I came here, I had an open mind to learn and do everything that the Americans did. I was impressed with the system. There were a few things that were shocking in terms of the racial prejudice I ran into at some stages. The biggest difficulty I encountered was the weather change. Coming from the tropics, winters were particularly difficult for me to adjust to. But with time, I started enjoying winters. My training in pharmacy was chosen mainly because in the United States, there was not a program where you can go into medicine directly. I had always wanted to do medicine. I chose pharmacy just in case I did not end up going to medical school. I had a profession to fall back onto. But as it happened, I was fortunate to go on to medical school. Well, when I went into medical school, I was planning to do general surgery, mainly because I was still planning to go back to Africa and practice. And when you practice in Africa and you're at a hospital, you do everything. And the best qualified person would then be a general surgeon who can do both the general surgery, the orthopedics, the OB/GYN, and general practice. During my training, I was fortunate to work under the auspices of Dr. Alexander, who inspired me and wanted me to specialize in nutritional support and possible trauma surgery.
My involvement in bariatric was really serendipity. In my designation as a nutritional support person, I was given a patient to take care of who came in with complications from GI bypass surgery. My interaction with this patient opened my eyes as to the situation with the morbidly obese. And through the assistance of Dr. Alexander and a supporting role by Dr. Mason, who sent us the necessary information, we were able to convert this patient from a jejunal bypass to a gastric bypass. It was interesting because this was a time when there was a moratorium on bariatric surgery in the Los Angeles area. And at that time, I was one of the only surgeons, probably on the West Coast, that did any bariatric surgery. So I had referrals from all the academic centers. I would say my first 70 plus patients were all patients that were converted from GI bypass to gastric bypass. And that completely took me away from the trauma surgery into the field of bariatric surgery. The Fobi pouch operation for obesity is a modification of the gastric bypass. It was a modification that evolved from the conversion of gastroplasties that failed to a gastric bypass, leaving the ring or the band in place. In 1983, we started calling the banded gastric bypass the Fobi pouch operation. When we reviewed our outcome from various gastric bypass procedures, it became evident that the patients who had been converted from a gastroplasty to a gastric bypass, leaving the ring in place, did better than the patients who had a primary gastric bypass or the patients who had a primary gastroplasty. So when I went into practice and I set up the Center for Surgical Treatment of Obesity, I established a multidisciplinary team. In the beginning, most people did not think this was necessary. They thought it was not appropriate to use that many consultants. But eventually, I have been vindicated in that the practice of bariatric surgery today is done with a multi-specialty approach. I had the first publication, the Bariatric Surgery Newsletter, that was published first in 1982 and was published through 1987. And this was the only publication on bariatric surgery at that time. If you look at one of my editorials in Bariatric Surgery Newsletter in 1983, I did say that bariatric surgery could be used for treating diabetes. And today that has become well accepted, and now we're using some of the operations in bariatric surgery to treat diabetes and other metabolic disorders. I had one of the first meetings in bariatric surgery that brought surgeons worldwide. It was the annual meeting for surgical treatment of obesity that was held in Los Angeles from 1981 through 1992. My meeting and Dr. Mason's meetings in Iowa were the only two bariatric meetings in the United States until the formation of the American Society of Bariatric Surgery.
Dr. Fobi is currently the medical director of the Tri-City Regional Medical Center Bariatric Program in Hawaiian Gardens, California, and the medical director of the Center for Surgical Treatment of Obesity at St. Mary Medical Center in Long Beach, California. He's developed an accredited center of excellence at both facilities.
Dr. Fobi's dedication to the field of bariatrics extends beyond the operating room. He's the president of the International Federation for the Surgery of Obesity and Metabolic Disorders, the past president of the ASMBS Foundation. He is also one of the founding members and past president of the California chapter of the ASMBS. During his term, he was able to register over 50 new medical members.
Teaching others to fish has always been Dr. Fobi's philosophy. He and his wife Helen fund the Bobby and Guebefort Foundation, which provides scholarships to students who without financial support cannot obtain post-secondary education. To date, more than 150 students have benefited from these scholarships. As part of the foundation's Family to Family program, the Fobies collect books, medical supplies, clothing, computers, and other goods, ship them to Cameroon, and distribute them to local hospitals, schools, orphanages, and prisons. Being a man of vision, Dr. Fobi has prided himself on helping those in need. Seeing a need for quality education in his hometown of Quinn, Dr. Fobi built and maintains the Hosanna Bilingual Academy. Started 10 years ago with only 10 students, the school has grown to become one of the top high schools in Cameroon, regularly receiving awards for its students' academic excellence and educational achievements. The school currently has over 300 students and a waiting list for admissions. In an effort to help others reach their full potential, Dr. Fobi supports educational initiatives of organizations worldwide. Dr. Fobi's many contributions have not gone unnoticed. He is the recipient of awards and accolades from the World Bank, the International College of Surgeons, the NAACP, the International Visitors Council of Los Angeles, and the International Bariatric Surgery Registry. He received the Pioneer Award at the LA Inner City Destiny Awards, the Highlight Award from Women Inc., the Mentor Award from Men on the Move, the Lifetime Award from the Charles Drew Medical Society, and the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Beacon of Hope Foundation, to name a few.
Oh, in Cameroon, I have been involved politically. I helped to establish a multi-party system in Cameroon, which was a single-party dictatorship. The formation of an opposition party in Cameroon by the opposition leader, Honorable John Fundi, was something I supported and spent a lot of money. As a matter of fact, we did bring multi-party politics in Cameroon, and I did work hard on that.
A family man, Dr. Fobi enjoys nothing more than to spend time with his family. He is the father of 4 daughters and the grandfather of 2. He's personally made it possible for over 70 family members to move from Cameroon to the United States and has aided countless Cameroonians to do the same. Although Dr. Mathias A L Fobi is an accomplished, internationally recognized bariatric surgeon who has helped to improve the quality of life for thousands of people worldwide, he remains modest, never losing touch with his humble roots.
When you come from Cameroon, Africa, where I was working as a third-class clerk, and I made $60 a month. And when I arrived in Detroit in 1966, I got my first job at the Pontiac plant, and I came home with $97 that weekend. I counted that money 6 and 7 times, and you could have seen the smile on my face. And I went and got myself a pack of Stroh's beer for $1.98, and I was on top of the world.